Have you ever wondered what women secretly think about when no one is watching? What if I told you that women, no matter how strong, independent, or modern they may appear, carry within them a dark fantasy they rarely, if ever, put into words? Stay with me for this entire video, because by the end, you won't just understand this unspoken truth. You'll know how Marcus Aurelius himself, the emperor of Rome and the philosopher of resilience, would guide you to handle it with strength, dignity, and mastery. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and watch all the way until the end. This isn't just another surface-level relationship video. This is a lesson rooted in ancient, Stoic wisdom that could completely transform the way you see women, desire, and love itself. The ancient secret women keep hidden. Let me begin with a story. Centuries ago, when Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome, he would walk through the marble halls of the palace, surrounded by wealth, power, and influence. But Marcus, unlike many rulers before him, was not consumed by lust or blind passion. He observed people. He studied human nature. He noticed something men often miss even today, that women, like men, are driven by deep desires they rarely confess openly. And one of those desires, a fantasy they almost never voice, is this. They want to surrender their strength just for a moment to a man strong enough to carry it. Not weak dominance, not abusive control, but an inner strength so unshakable, so steady, that she feels safe enough to let go of the mask she wears every day. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that's the exact kind of strength women secretly long for. Not the muscles, not the money, not the status symbols, but the kind of man who cannot be shaken by storms. The dark fantasy no one talks about. Here's the truth few dare to say out loud. The fantasy women hold in secret is not about riches, fairy tales, or even constant romance. It is about finding a man who is unmovable. In a world where women are expected to work, fight, and constantly prove themselves, they often secretly fantasize about being able to collapse into the arms of someone who is stronger, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Think about it. Everywhere in modern life, women are told to be independent, powerful, self-reliant, and many of them are. But deep within, there's still that longing for a man who creates such a field of safety and control over himself that she can let down her guard. That is the dark fantasy, to be able to surrender to strength without fear. But here's where most men fail, because they think strength is loud. They think it's about showing off, flexing, dominating. Marcus Aurelius, however, taught the opposite. True strength is silent, steady, disciplined. The kind of strength you don't have to announce. Why men fail to see this? Let me tell you another story. In the bustling markets of Rome, traders would shout about their goods, gladiators would boast of their victories, and men would try to win favor by showing off wealth. But Marcus observed all this with quiet detachment. He knew that the loudest men were often the weakest inside, and women, just like today, could see through the act. Here's what happens in modern times. Men assume that to attract women, they need to be the richest, the funniest, or the most handsome. But the dark fantasy women hide is not about any of that. It's about, can you remain calm under pressure? Can you lead without arrogance? Can you make her feel safe enough to be vulnerable? That's why Marcus Aurelius would tell you, stop chasing her with empty gestures. Instead, become unshakable in your discipline, your self-respect, and your purpose. The Stoic blueprint for becoming that man. So how do you, as a man, step into this role? The man women secretly long for. Marcus Aurelius leaves us a blueprint. 1. Control yourself. First, he said, you have power over your mind. If you cannot control your anger, your jealousy, or your impulses, how can a woman trust you with her deepest vulnerability? 2. Detach from external validation. Women are drawn to men who don't beg for approval. If her attention is the center of your world, you've already lost her respect. 3. Create a safe space of strength. Strength is not about intimidation. It's about calmness. When she's in chaos, can you be still? When she's emotional, can you hold steady instead of reacting wildly? 4. Live with purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily reminders to himself about duty, virtue, and purpose. A man without purpose becomes needy. A man with purpose becomes magnetic. This is the essence of the fantasy. Women never speak aloud. They long for a man strong enough to handle both himself and her storms. A Roman tale of desire. Imagine this. A Roman woman walks through the crowded forum, her mind filled with the noise of the city. Men whistle, merchants haggle, senators boast of politics. But her eyes catch one man sitting in silence, reading a scroll unmoved by the chaos. He doesn't need to prove himself. His stillness is his strength. His calm is his power. And though he says nothing, she feels it. The presence of a man who cannot be swayed. That man is what women secretly long for. Not the loudest in the room, but the one whose silence carries weight. The hidden message in her behavior. You might notice this in your own life. A woman might test you with attitude. She might try to stir your emotions. She might pull back suddenly or act distant. Most men panic. They chase harder. They beg. They argue. But the truth is, those moments are not rejections. They are tests. She wants to know, are you strong enough to hold your ground? Marcus Aurelius faced rebellions, plagues, betrayals, yet he remained calm. He journaled. He reminded himself, if it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. That's exactly how you must be with women. Endure, hold steady, smile at the storm, because when you remain unmoved, she feels the strength she secretly craves. Why this fantasy is dangerous if misunderstood. But listen carefully, because this is where men go wrong. Some hear women want strength, and they turn it into domination, arrogance, or control. That's not what Marcus Aurelius taught. That's not Stoicism. The dark fantasy is not about cruelty, it's about relief. Relief from always being the strong one. Relief from carrying the weight of the world. Relief in the arms of a man who is firm, not fragile. If you mistake it for aggression, you will lose her trust forever. Becoming the Stoic man women secretly desire. So here's what you must do starting today. Wake up with discipline. Even Marcus, as emperor, woke early and reminded himself of his duty. Master your emotions. Don't be a slave to anger, jealousy, or lust. Speak less, act more. Show strength in your actions, not your words. Build inner calm. Meditate, reflect, journal. Become the man whose mind cannot be shaken. Protect, don't possess. Women long for a man who protects without trying to own them. Do this, and you step into the role that women secretly dream about, but never confess. The final lesson. From Marcus. In the quiet hours of the night, Marcus Aurelius would sit by a dim candle, writing reminders to himself. Do not waste what remains of your life in thoughts about others. When you are not thinking with reference to some common good, be simple, be decent, be free from pretense, and that is the final truth. Women may never tell you this dark fantasy outright, but if you live by these Stoic principles, strength, calmness, purpose, you won't need them to. You will embody it. You won't have to convince her. She will feel it. So the next time you wonder what women secretly long for, remember this. It is not money. It is not looks. It is not constant words of love. It is the presence of a man who cannot be shaken. A man who gives her the freedom to surrender her strength without fear. A man who, like Marcus Aurelius, remains calm in the chaos. And that, my friend, is the one dark fantasy women never tell you about. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.